Hello, everyone. My name is Mirna, and on behalf of the Mindalia TV team, we want to welcome you to Mindalia live streaming, where thousands of people around the world gather to see the lectures and interviews programmed by MindaliaTV.com. Today with us, Angel Ribot, whom is a CEO, consultant, TV host, international public speaker, and president of the Wisdom for Kids Foundation, is going to be interviewing Allana Pratt. Allana Pratt is a cum laude graduate of Columbia University. She is the author of 4 international books. She is a relationship intimacy expert, inspiring open-hearted, unapologetic living with delicious sass. She is also a featured weekly contributor of the Good Men Project. She is host of the sexy, empowering podcast, Intimate Conversations. And today she is going to be talking about vulnerability is the new sexy. Before starting with Angel and Allana, we want to remind you that Mindalia TV is a nonprofit organization. Our only mission is just to share information with the world and with that help raise the level of consciousness around our beautiful planet. And you can help us just by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, or even sharing this with someone that you know can take, great advantage of the content that we're going to be sharing today. Also, while we are live streaming, we have the active chat. It's an excellent tool for you to interact. At the end of the talk, Allana is going to be answering questions. And I just ask you to please remember the format, the word question in caps, and then the actual question that you want answered. Without further delay, I am going to be leaving you with Angel and Allana. Angel, Allana, the screen is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mirna. And it's really a big pleasure for us to have Allana with us tonight. So welcome to Mindalia TV, Allana. Thank you for being with us.
It's fantastic. Such a huge honor. I'm excited to contribute to everyone and have a juicy conversation that's also really heart-centered.
Exactly. Let me start the conversation with a comparison, if I may. We are supposed to be energy, right? The atoms are supposed to be 99.9999% of energy, and we're made up of atoms. But Allana, since the very moment I met with her the first time, I think that she's much closer to 100% of energy. Would you agree that this energy has taken you where you are today, Allana?
Thank you for commenting on my energy. Whenever I do surveys with my newsletter and, how can I serve you better? What am I doing well? What could I improve on? Everyone's like, it's your energy. And I think, well, what are they really talking about? And there's some transmission that occurs maybe through my words, maybe through my writing, but it's a transfer of unconditional love, of acceptance of your wobbly and your magnificence. It's this non-judgmental, unapologetic, hi, here I am, totally me, vulnerable. And here you are, totally vulnerable. Let's play, let's connect. The old me used to be so wanting to get approval, wanting to control, wanting to look good, just wanting someone to love me. And all the inner work that I've done and shedding all of those masks that we wear seems to make my light, my energy radiate in a way that feels good to others. And I'd like to really teach people how they can do that too. Remove any of those masks so they can just be the shining energy that they are naturally.
As an intimacy expert, what's the role that energy plays in that intimacy that you try to help the people with?
Yeah. Well, the way I talk about intimacy, into me I see. So even though intimacy includes sex, genital copulation, which I love, that's not the only thing intimacy is really about. It's more about transparency, putting down your walls, being vulnerable, being honest, being raw, not looking to the other to complete you, but being complete in and of yourself, the good, the bad, the ugly. Hi. So when it comes to looking inside, into me, I see, one of the blocks that contracts the energy is shame. I'm not good enough, holding on to the past, self-judgment, self-rejection, self-abandonment, blaming others. All these things really contract the energy that we are. And then from this sort of pretzel little place, we're trying to connect with another, but we're only showing up 20%, 50%. But when we can have an intimate relationship with ourselves first, and it's sort of like you imagine like little Angel, and he's feeling a little sad. And instead of telling him to shut up, stay in the closet. Don't let anybody see you. We need to be perfect. You're like, come here, dude. What's going on? Tell me more. Oh, you have every right to feel this way. I get it. I get it. I got your back. I'm not going to judge you anymore. Together, we can do this. We got this, right? This bringing home of these disowned or judged parts of ourselves kind of gives us that chunk of energy back. So we're not just 20%, now we're 50. And then you go grab this one, you go grab this one, you grab everybody, you do your inner work. And now you're 100% the possibility of who you are. Hi. And that flow of energy can then be like this figure eight back and forth with another, this weaving of contact, of connection into their heart, back into yours, letting them into your heart, back over there. You don't need to control it because you feel solid, home, safe inside you already. You're not looking to control your circumstances to be okay. You're already okay. So there's a freedom and a deliciousness that occurs intimately with another once you first have that intimate relationship with yourself.
Where would you say that your journey has started?
In the womb. I don't know. I heard that my mom hemorrhaged when I was being delivered. So like I came into a world of like fear. I also learned that my dad's dad committed suicide right when I was coming into the world. So he was sad and disconnected. My dad was chose to drink and do drugs. My mom chose to be codependent. So these were the energetic environment that I grew up in. Do you love me? Do you pay attention to me? Am I good enough? So that was how I grew up, basically as long as I can remember. Even one time when I was 5, I've always loved dancing. And I was dancing around the ottoman in the living room to Jesus Christ, Superstar, the Broadway, like a little Sufi dancer. And there was a punch through the wall. My dad was like, be quiet. And I didn't hear. So this fear of the masculine and sort of a checked out feminine was how I grew up. So that set me up, the perfect obstacles, the perfect storm, the perfect divine storm for me to go through 2 marriages. I was the only one in common, 2 divorces. When I was seeking approval, seeking safety in husband number 1. Husband number 2 was when my mom was dying, and I didn't, again, want to feel my heart. I didn't want to listen to my truth. I still wanted to seek on the outside. And so I just sort of chose anybody to replace my mom, the relationship, have a kid. Not a very noble or conscious choice, but the best I could do at the time. I forgive myself. And those 2 relationships showed me enough. I cannot look outside of myself one more day for my worth. I'm bankrupt. That's not going to work. And then when I started to look inside, I didn't like who I saw. Ashamed, insecure, scared, not very confident, didn't like her body, all sorts of parts of me that I didn't want to deal with. But that is the work that I teach people when we can first come into allowance. So judgment doesn't work, rejection doesn't work, blaming doesn't work, avoiding doesn't work. But we can't kind of go from there to, I love myself. That's kind of spiritual bypass, right? It's fake, fantasy. You got to just sit in the fire and allow and just be with the part of you that you just can barely handle until you can handle it. We call it allowance. It doesn't mean acceptance, like it's never going to change or we're giving up or giving in. It's not like that. It's active. It's allowing. I might not prefer this part of myself, but I'm not going to hurt me anymore. I'm not going to be cruel to me anymore. Wow, she has every right to feel that way. Or for you, he has every right to feel that way. Come here. And it's that from allowance, if you go on the Hawkins scale of consciousness, you know, so allowance is where we tip from unconscious to conscious, victim to choice, right? Powerless to power. So if you can come into allowance of the parts that you're the most scared of, ashamed of, the ones you really want to fix, and you can just say, hey, let's hang out. That is the best way to really set yourself free on the inside so you can have that intimacy on the outside.
Would you say that the intimacy is in which, you know, people obviously are very busy. Some of them are suffering, or they go so fast that they cannot really stop, reflect, and allow. Yeah. the allowing that you are just describing. So where in the scale, where in the ranking of the people intimacy would you say it is? Do you think that they put intimacy like very high ranked in their priority list as human beings or not? What do you find?
I think they might call it like, I want to be seen. I want to be understood. I want to be safe. I want to be approved of. I don't think they ever think I want intimacy, but intimacy is sort of the vehicle to have all of that. And when we seek it on the outside, it's the quickest way to make it go away. I just worked with a client out here in San Diego for 2 days, amazing breakthroughs. And he goes back, but he didn't put into practice every day, checking in with, I call it little you. And he's a busy, professional. And he started texting those women again on match.com or whatever he's on. And he pushed them away super fast because he got needy again. So this idea of practice doesn't need to be long, but it needs to be consistent. And so I was telling him every morning, I go, how many times do you press the snooze button? He's like, 2 or 3. I go, okay, perfect. So you're not allowed to get up. You must put a hand on your heart and a hand on your power center. A little lower if like down on your pelvis, if more of your fear is around sexuality or shame you've been made wrong or cheated on or an affair or something, okay? So it can be down lower. But in general, our power center and our heart. And I want you just to check in and go, hey, little guy, how you doing? I'd like you to check in, slow down, have an intimate relationship with yourself. Some days it's like, bring it. Today's going to be a great day. But other days it's, I'm a little worried about something. I'm mad about something. I listen, or we're just going to stuff it, spin in our head and pretend that we're connected, but we're not present. We're not there. All this energy is spinning. So in our busy world, what's really important is to go, if I'm seeking security, give it to myself. If I'm seeking the sense of like being approved of, approve of myself. If I'm just feeling I want safety, I'm spinning in my head, let the little one inside feel safe. That is the way to reverse the cycle of neediness and pushing people away and really becoming this vortex, the opposite, this magnet to somebody of that same high level of inner consciousness. Because everything's energy, as you said at the beginning of the interview, you will attract somebody needy, spinning on the inside, or centered and open-hearted. Yeah.
Could you share like a practice that we could all do like briefly, like a few, seconds, minutes, I don't know,
Sure.
that you wouldn't mind sharing with all of us, so we would start feeling, the effects, the consequences of doing what you just described, because it's really beautiful. I was really feeling it while you were explaining it. Would you mind sharing that with our audience in Mindalia TV?
Pleasure. Yeah,
Thank you.
totally my pleasure. So one practice would be every morning, you're allowed to press the snooze button, touch your body, because the energy that's spinning or the energy we don't want to deal with, the navigating of intense emotions, that's in our body's sensation. So we often stuff it and spin in our mind. So we want to use our hands to help us stay in there. Okay. So one practice would be the morning practice and just checking in and saying, hey, how you doing? When you do that, notice when the emotion or the body sensation or the thought or even the image, when something comes up that you don't like, notice what you do. Just notice. Most of us close our heart and try to think a different thought. I call it sprinkles on top of the ice cream cone of shit. It doesn't work, right? So instead, when we check in with little you, I want you to think about opening. And so if you could imagine a little child comes in the room and says, I'm really scared. And we close our heart and turn around, it's going to make it worse, right? Or if they come in the room and they're angry and we're like, stop it, just shut up. It's going to make it worse. So our job is to open. So we think and we choose to open our heart to whatever emotion, shape, feeling, sensation is going on, and just be like, yeah, bring it. Have you ever seen like the movie The Matrix where Neo goes, come, right? So it's like, come, I can handle whatever. And another trick is our prefrontal cortex helps us stay present. So we open our heart, maybe our hands are still on our heart, but we open our heart and we say with our prefrontal cortex, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I got this. I can handle this. I can feel this, right? And so our little you hears us say, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not abandoning you. I'm not rejecting you. And then we feel safe to feel. This navigating of intense emotions is such a skill set that we haven't learned because it's uncomfortable. And we press it away with drugs, porn, just getting busy, whatever it is. So if we can learn to sit in the fire, you can even imagine a fire and then we're all going to rise like phoenixes when we're done, or a piece of steel and we're going to get strong when we're done. That you go to your soul, you go to your spirit, you go to little you go to you. Have your own back in the face of anything. Feel like the hero or the heroine. I got you. Tell me more. And then you just feel the emotion. It could even be something really delicious that you want to allow. I don't know if I'm worthy. Could I really have it that good? He really likes me or she really likes me. What if they reject me? It could be like something really good that you're nervous about. It's not always bad, but it's just what's real. So be willing every day to feel what's real. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We can get through this. Open in the face of anything and breathe. You can also imagine opening up a window at the back of your heart as you exhale. So you inhale with allowance. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm right here, baby girl or little guy. And then as we exhale out the back of our heart, let go of trying to change, fix, control, wanting it to be different, resistance, judgment, all of that. It's not going to do any good. See it like black dust leaving out the back of your heart. So we inhale. I hear you. Tell me more. Exhale, letting go of anything that we're resisting. Inhale. Oh, you really do have every right to feel that way. Goodness, that sounds scary. Tell me more. Exhale, wanting to change or judge or fix. Inhale. In your mind's eye, and your mind doesn't know the difference. Do you want a hug or do you just want to stay over there and tell me more? Quite often, your little you will want to jump in your arms. See if you can imagine what it would feel like for a child against your body that you're holding safe. Something will relax in you, this sense of calmness. And then our brain doesn't know the difference. So the bonding hormone, like dopamine and feelings of safety, all of a sudden now, instead of flooding cortisol, stress, mayday, fight or flight or freeze going through our body, which disconnects our brain, our intelligence, our divine intelligence, and then we're really screwed. Instead of that hormone, good feeling hormones are starting to come through, and we're literally retraining your brain and your central nervous system that in the face of stress, we open. In the face of anxiety, I gotcha, I'm right here. In the face of any circumstance, I'm not going anywhere. And we experience confidence. We experience presence. We experience a connection to the divine. We can feel our feet on the floor. We're present. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we got this. And life begins to change when your wife comes home pissed off about something, or your child comes home and they failed a grade, or a client decides to no longer work with you. This is the skill. Can we be intimate with this moment? Can we stay connected? And that makes you such a desired, valuable partner, father, mother, lover. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Wow.
You're
It was
welcome.
completely inside of your explanation. I was starting to think about, let's talk about, intimate relationships. Okay.
Yeah.
So why would you say sometimes reaching that intimacy level is like a deterrent, like a wall,
Yeah.
like a stop for so many relationships? When did that start? That is sometimes so difficult to go to the next step, and we find all sorts of excuses not to go to the other side. I don't know if I'm making myself.
No, you're totally clear.
Okay,
Totally. I think at the very core, we all desire union, communion with the divine, with light, right? But here we are in a body, on a planet, eyes wide open, with people that reject us, cheat on us, say they'll be there, but they weren't. Don't text us back, whatever it is, okay? So the first time in our little life where everything's going great and then boom, what? There's mean people? What? People lie? We're just shattered. And that's like the first separation. And nobody's normally with us, like you or me at the time when we're 5, to say, hey, it's okay. You have every right to feel this way. Life is about equal challenge and support. Life is always a balance. Challenge is actually for you to make you stronger, more resilient, more grit, more presence. And pleasure is wonderful, but too much pleasure and you forget to take the trash out. You forget to pick up the kids, right? So pleasure is great, but too much pleasure, we no longer move forward in life. We just sit on the couch and eat, chips, okay? So pleasure is both a benefit and also a disadvantage, and same with challenge. Challenge is difficult, but it's also there for our growth. So when we were little, nobody taught us to lean into the emotion and go, oh, curious, what are you telling me? And go up the scale of, oh, so you're sad. Okay, I understand. You have every right to feel sad. Okay, I'm going to be with you in sadness. You're safe even when you're sad. What's the next emotion you want to feel? Well, I want to feel safe. I want to feel safe and powerful. Okay, now let's experience that. What would that take? Oh, now that we're safe and powerful, okay, what would you like to experience next? Freedom of expression. Nobody took us up the scale back into confidence and freedom of expression and all the way up to oneness. Nobody did that. They left us down there in sad, scared, and we shoved ourselves in a closet, or our parents said, be quiet, enough of that. And so it stayed stuck. And it's been stuck for decades. And so the work that I do helps to unearth all of these feelings that just sort of stopped. And they're stuck and they build over time. And because that's an energy, we just keep attracting situations to confirm it. Oh, look at that. Men can't be trusted. Oh, look at that. Women are after my money. Well, it's an energetic story imprint that keeps attracting the same thing until you learn to go lean in. Oh, what was the gift of that? What was the message in that? How was I being invited to grow? What in me was being invited to emerge in that very uncomfortable situation? Oh, and then we evolve, as does our energy, as does the situation with who we're with. I don't think there's ever, well, maybe if I sit in a cave long enough, but I don't know if I'll ever be able to be totally vulnerable, totally transparent, totally out of control, totally and not be like a little bit concerned. But I can stay there and I can love the part of me that's concerned. Maybe he'll find somebody younger and I can bring her back and go, it's okay. It's okay. You're 48. You have every right to be scared. He'll go for someone 20. Let's come back into the moment. I gotcha. I have every right to go, oh my God, what if he rejects me and blah, blah, blah. I can be human, but I have the skills now to bring myself back and stay present in that intimate moment, which will then allow us to surrender and our edges will dissolve and we won't know where one begins and the other ends. And that's that moment of communion or bliss that we get to share, just talking even, or making love. So it's not that we want to set ourselves up for this perfection that one day we should just never be afraid again. I think we're always going to bump up against the next level of concerns or fears or anxieties if we continue to evolve and grow as humans. So it's not about the perfection. It's about how quickly, when we experience pain, fear, can we scoop our arm around little you, can acknowledge, validate, curious, what's the growth here, and evolve and bring ourselves back to presence. And it's also about when the pleasure happens, not to clamor to it. Oh, I have a boyfriend, I got to keep him. I've got money, I got to keep it. And so, like, again, it's not clamoring to the pleasure or resisting to the pain, but how can we just ride the roller coaster of life, trusting in something deeper, wider, grander is running the show and has our back, the divine, so that we can navigate this intense planet that we live on. Yeah.
Intimacy means a lot of things, right? You mentioned the sexual part of intimacy, which is obviously very important, and many people are fearful of being rejected when that part of the relationship just shows up or just happens, right?
Sure.
And nudity, and maybe I'm not attractive enough, I'm not skinny enough, or I'm not blah blah blah, you name it, right?
Totally.
So I'm sure you've had many different cases of this.
Yes.
And I would like to take that into childhood. What do you think we could do while bringing up our kids that would help them to be in a better place when they grow up and they have to face with intimacy?
Well, there's so many magazines, you know, and you have to have a 6-pack abs if you're a guy, and you have to have really big boobs if you're a girl, and you have to look 20 even when you're 70. Like, there's a lot of silly things. So to give them an understanding that your body is beauty itself, not beautiful, because beautiful instantly sets you up to comparison, and you're always going to be more beautiful or less, older or younger, you know, fatter or thinner. Like, you're going to lose, and you're going to clamor for superior and be afraid you're inferior. So we want to teach them the point of view that there's a garden of people, and there's all these different kinds of flowers, and no flower is better than the other. It's just all this beautiful garden. So you are beauty itself, or you are handsomeness itself, and your body is your best friend, and your body is to be listened to. So when you're around somebody that doesn't honor you, value you, respect you, your body's going to feel icky, nauseous. It's going to cave, and listen to that body. Ask it questions. And when it's around someone that sees the best in you, honors you, and is truthful, you're going to feel wide and expansive, and to listen to that and trust that. It helps them listen to their intuition as well. I also like to, this is my son, I believe our sexuality is sacred. I believe our bodies are divine temples. And so when he wanted, poor guy, if he ever watches this, he's 15 now and like 6'3". But when he was little,
wow,
he loved his penis. And I'm like, that's awesome. And he wants to play with his penis at the dinner table. And I'm like, that's awesome. And then as he got older, I said, you know, when we have guests over, sometimes we might make people uncomfortable. So I'd like you to enjoy your pleasure in your room and just not at the dinner table. Just no shame on it, just like an explanation. And when you are with other people, like, he got kicked out of grade 5 for kissing the 2 twins, the hot twins. and he felt so bad that he was made wrong. But they were so beautiful, Mom. I just wanted to kiss them. And I said, I understand. Forgive me. I didn't tell you that we need to ask permission before we touch another's body. It's their property. And no one's allowed to touch your body. And I'm sorry that you experienced all of that shame. And this is a way for us to live in the world. So we don't have to do it perfectly as parents. We just want to address what's there. But now that he's 15, we have total carte blanche. We can talk about sex. We talk about like safe sex. We talk about pleasure. We talk about presence. And one day when he was 14, he was too old for the camp, but not old enough to be a camp leader. And there was this middle ground where you were training to be a camp leader. Fine. And so he comes home one day and he says, so Mom, do you know what spin the bottle is? And so one thing as parents, we don't instantly judge. We don't instantly assume. We open. Same practice with ourselves, open in the face of anything. Open with curiosity, not rejection. So I said, I think so, but you know, you're so hip and cool. Maybe it's different now. He goes, it's kissing. I go, yeah, same thing. When I grew up, it was kissing. And he goes, well, all the other mentees who were training to be camp leaders, we played spin the bottle. And I go, did you kiss anyone? He goes, yeah. And he goes, and I'm like, oh, open. And goes, yeah, I kissed 5 girls behind the tent. And I go, so. And again, instead of shaming him or making him wrong, kind of guiding him. And I said, so did they give you permission? Yes, I made sure. I go, okay, great. And I go, who is your favorite? Angela. And I went, oh, why? Mom, she was so present. And I'm like, wow, I'm doing my job. I'm doing my job. So he's starting, even though he's hormonal and all the rest of it, he's starting to blend the sacredness with sexuality. He's starting to blend the honor with our bodies. He's starting to blend the respect. And so this is a way we can help our children. And when we do our inner work, there's no way we can be non-judgmental, shame-free, open, and supportive of our children's sexuality if we're still judging ourselves, shaming ourselves. So again, it always comes back to ourself first. And some of us had experiences where somebody's dad touched our ass when we were 10 and we didn't know what to do about it. And it's been stuck inside. Maybe it was a horrible rape. It could be anything. It could have been like, I've heard from men in the military, like lots of people have told me a lot of things, STDs, affairs, lots of things really shut us down. So it's our self-loving job to go inside and find those places, acknowledge those places, and let them know we're not going to resist you or judge you. We're going to be with you in this uncomfortable fire all the way through to get the lesson and be better, stronger, wiser because of it. And the safety that we seek on the outside, it's not there. It's on the inside with ourselves. It's on the inside with our body. And so the more we can be with our body, listen to our body, honor our body, stand up for our body, healthy boundaries with our bodies, speak up with our words, all of that, the more we can find that safety and security on the inside. And then you have this energy of openness, you know, bring it life, I'm ready for everything. But we also have this energy of don't fuck with me. Like we love ourselves so much, you are not allowed to hurt me, because we have that fierce sense of inner protection, but we don't have that. Like the women, if you look at the statistics of who gets, you know, raped in the parking lot and who doesn't, that strong sense of, she doesn't have that. She's never learned to stand up for herself like that, because way back lodged in her mind is a brain synapse that says, oh, but people's dads can put their hands on my ass when I'm 10. It's never been dealt with. And it's still back in there. And that's the picture that comes up when you're shocked in that moment. So we want to go all the way into our subconscious and make sure everything in there is regal, reverent, sacred, standing up for ourselves like we are the kings and queens of our own, protectors of our bodies, and the honoring of them. So that sacred sexual energy and intimacy can flow within us and with a partner that deserves the gift of our divine temple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, that was really, really powerful. We are already at the end of the first part of our conversation, Allana, and I would like to please ask you to share with Mindalia TV's audience.
Yeah.
You know, where can they find you? Where can we find you, Allana?
Thank you. So, ladies, my site allanapratt.com, ALLANAPRATT.com. And then my men's site is gethertosayyes.com. So that's for the men and for the ladies. And then otherwise, I would say on iTunes, go to Intimate Conversations. That's my podcast. And then I have a YouTube channel, Twitter, Facebook, everything's under my name, Allana Pratt.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Let's go to the questions, if I may. Thank you. First one, why is it so hard and scary to connect to ourselves and also to let that self-being seen by others?
Yeah. When we determine our self-worth from the outside in, the reason why it's so scary to connect with ourselves or connect on the outside is we're looking to others to give us our worth. But can we control others? No. So you are setting yourself up for certain failure by seeking approval by something you can't even control. Okay? So that should be scary. But when we begin to derive our worth from the inside, and we literally do that practice every morning, and we imagine looking in the eyes of ourself as if God was, the divine was, and we begin to learn how to love our wobbly parts and our scared parts, and we affirm, I love you even though you're scared. I love you even though that happened. I love you even though we lost. I love you even though they broke up with us. I love you even though you're short. I love you even though you're tall. I love you, I love you, I love you, even though. And that's our practice. All of a sudden, it doesn't become so scary to be on the inside anymore, because our little you goes, oh, you're here. Hi, you're the one that's nice to me. As opposed to when we were scared in the past and we're like, shut up, in the closet. That's why it's scary to go on the inside. You're feeling the fear of little you going, don't come in here. You're so mean to me. But it starts to feel good to be on the inside when you're like, here I am. I've got lollipops or tequila shots or whatever you want. I'm here, because there's lots of ages of us on the inside. And then when you have that solidity on the inside and then you meet somebody else, of course, I'd prefer that they like me. But if they don't, I'm not going to lose my, I'm not going to lose my shit. I'm going to be okay. Maybe I'll have a cry. Maybe I'll have a bath. Maybe I'll watch a sad movie, but I'll be okay. And I'll get back up again. One of the Japanese proverbs, if you fall down 7 times, get up 8. That's all it takes. That's life. And that will begin to help you feel a sense of oneness on the inside and confidence on the outside. And one magical thing that happens that I can't make happen to you, but I can help you create the space for it to happen, a moment of grace. When you go inside long enough and you talk to little you long enough, one day it's not just you and little you, it's you and the divine. And you're like, oh my God, I'm having a direct experience of oneness with my true nature. It could be very short, just a brief spark, but you'll never be the same again if you continue to do this inner work. And when you know that you are at one with the all, then again, I prefer people like me rather than not. But my heart and my light is so much bigger than the circumstances. And it makes you very sexy and attractive too, by the way.
Excellent. Thank you. Next question. How can we help a man that loses his erection during sex? What is the right approach at the moment?
Beautiful. Well, maybe not right in the moment, maybe at dinner another time, but let's start right in the moment first. So you want to connect, make contact, heart-to-heart contact, maybe put your hand on his chest and just go, hey, it's okay. I love you no matter what. So all of his desire outside of him, approval outside of him, wanting to please you, wanting to look good, do it right, all that, he's outside of himself. Bring him back into his heart. Put your hand on his heart. Hey, it's okay. I love you. He'll calm down. Quite often, the erection goes down because he's not present. He's thinking of something, right? He's worried about something. So just do some breathing, some dyads. There's these beautiful questions called dyads. They're in my 4th book, a long list of them. But basically, the idea is 3 questions. First one, tell me something you like about me. Just a very simple question. You go back and forth, and all you say is thank you. You don't agree, disagree, whatever. I really love the way you look at me. Thank you. I really love your presence. Thank you. Next question. Tell me something you think we align on. See, when he loses his erection and then he's ashamed and you don't know what to do, there's separation, right? So hand on the heart. Tell me something you think we're aligned on. I think we're aligned on being honest. Thank you. And the other person, tell me something you think we align on, that we choose to have amazing intimacy, whether or not we have orgasms, whether or not I'm juicy or you're hard or whatever. We just choose to be intimate and enjoy. Thank you. And then the third question, tell me something you're afraid to tell me. And that's a space for him to say, I'm afraid you don't love me anymore, or you won't desire me anymore. And your job is only to say, thank you. Don't go, but I do. No. Just get him. Just get him. That's all. That spinning thought needs to be gotten, not fixed, not changed, not sprinkled with sprinkles. Just get him. I'm afraid you might reject me. Thank you. Tell me something you're afraid of. Well, I'm afraid that you're afraid your shame will make you go away from me when all I want you is just to stay with me. Thank you. So that's a mini example of what a dyad could be that you could do in that very moment. And hopefully I would also recommend next time you have a date, next time you go for a walk, go out for dinner, generally face to face, like looking in the eyes, it's a little too much energy. Tell me something, it's like a lot, right? But so you're beside each other, maybe driving or going for a walk beside each other. So it's not too much presence. Ask those very same questions. And you'd be amazed at the safety you can create to talk about the uncomfortable night the night before, right? And then build the connection back again, build the contact back again. And maybe even, this is another example I give to couples that I work with, you don't have to have the same goal every time in sex. It doesn't always have to be hard, juicy, orgasm, blah, blah, blah. What if you created a game? Mondays are all about her. Wednesdays are all about him. Fridays are all about just massage, not allowed to have sex. Sundays are all about blindfolds and kissing. Tuesdays are all about, and then you could make up whatever you want. So there's not pressure that every time I have to be hard and perfect. Like there's other things. And then when we're softer about this and we experience pleasure and intimacy in so many ways, it's easier for a man to get out of his head and to penetrate you, not just with his cock, but with his heart and with his presence. That's really what we want. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Third, what is the result of consistently allowing ourselves to encounter encounter and face those scary feelings?
Confidence, like, yeah, unstoppable, unshakable, unapologetic, delicious, freedom of expression. Yeah. And to know that you're never going to get there. Because if I never was on Mindalia TV and I just stayed alone and all I ever did was my little YouTube videos, and then I could just be like never nervous again, right? But then it's like, oh, I'm going to be on Mindalia TV, and a little Twitter pated, I get to see Angel. This is going to be exciting. So there's a little bit of nervousness. If Oprah calls me and says, hey, what do you think about Super Soul Sunday, Allana? I'll probably like fall over on the ground. I'll be like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. And I'll be like, ah, right? So as we grow, we're going to get scared again. That's okay. That's totally normal. We just grab little Allana. It's going to be okay. Oprah put her pants on just like you put your pants on. It's going to be fine, right? Like, and just talk yourself through it. But the practice of always leaning into the fear and being curious and making that scared part of us feel safe, you have the experience of, yeah, we got this. Whatever happens, we're still okay. We fall flat on our face. I still love you. We're going to be okay. Let's have fun. Let's do this. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Next question. So, how does vulnerability make us attractive?
Well, the reason why I called this presentation Vulnerability is the New Sexy is the opposite of vulnerable would be fake. The opposite of vulnerable would be telling lies so you like me. The opposite of vulnerable would be I'm not going to let you know anything about me except all the perfect parts. So that's not sexy, right? When we think about a movie, like our favorite parts in the movie, it's when the character is vulnerable, a little wobbly, a little transparent. It's what we live for, to watch how they navigate that wobbly land, keep their heart open, and move towards their goal of connection, right? So the reason why vulnerability is so sexy is that you give another permission to be exactly who they are. Because you're giving yourself permission to be exactly who you are. There's a safety. There's this depth of contact. I don't have to do anything to impress you. I can just be me, which doesn't mean on a first date, tell them about your 2 divorces and all the crazy stuff, okay? So like, over time, vulnerability is also earned, because it's a raw state. You're exposed, but it doesn't mean you're weak or bad or vulnerability is weak or bad. It just means only certain people have the right to see your inner jewel, your heart. They have to earn the right, which doesn't mean we need to be fake until they've earned it, but we just slowly but surely, we use our intuition. When we're vulnerable, we can feel and sense, are they present? Are they judging us? Are they trying to compete with us? Do they care? We can feel it, but we can't feel it when our heart is closed and we're trying to be perfect. And that's when we end up getting blindsided. And then we're like, oh, I'll never be vulnerable again. No, it's because you weren't listening. So it's sexy because it's powerful. Because I'm going to be me, and you like me, you don't like me, I really don't care. Not like I'm a bitch, I don't care, but just like I'm not here to be liked. I'm just here to get to know you. So it's very attractive because it's so powerful and confident. Yeah, to open your heart in the face of anything.
That's going to be a follow-up question coming from me, not from the audience, but don't you think that being vulnerable, maybe you might get a rejection? And that might represent that I will be alone again.
Well, you could make it mean that. You could certainly make it mean that, and you will be rejected. Welcome to life. Sorry. Remember, I said half of life is challenge, half of life is support. You're always going to get both. Unless you sit in the corner, do nothing, never leave your house. You're going to get rejected. I get rejected all the time. In fact, even just today, a client said she wants to sign up and now she says she doesn't. She's all scared. I get rejected all the time. But I'm not going to stop showing up and serving who I'm here to serve. Because when I have those moments and they have those breakthroughs like, ha ha, and they fall in love and their lives are working, it's so worth it getting up again to show up for the next client whose life I'm going to help. So you're going to get rejected. Sorry. Life is going to hurt. Sorry. But there's a difference between pain and suffering. Pain, when we lean in, passes quickly. suffering is when we shut down and we live in this like 24/7 horrible hell where we're like, see, I told you, judgment. See, you should have never done that. We're going to be alone forever, you loser. See, that's exactly the opposite of how I've been teaching us to talk to little you. So when you get rejected, it hurts. Okay, go have a shot of tequila. Go have a bath. Cry. It's okay. It's called being human. Honor the experience. Not for days, but for the night. Go home and then have a bath and put your hands on your heart and your belly and go, hey, that hurt, didn't it? Yeah, he was a meanie. He's a jerk. I agree. So, what else do you want to let me know? Well, I guess it was better that we found out sooner than later. Oh, it's a good point. It's a good point. Well, I don't want to be around anybody that's going to be mean. I agree. So we'll keep going until we find someone that does. Yeah, and we'll be together. Yeah. Okay. And you just talk yourself through the rejection, and that experience of talking yourself through makes you stronger, makes you more resilient, makes you have the courage to show up. I'm 48. I've had 2 divorces. I'm now in love with the most amazing, generous, hot, kind, supportive man. It took me a little longer to find my guy, but I'm so glad I never gave up. I'm so glad that, so many rejections. I just kept going, and I just made a deeper commitment to myself that I'm a good person. I made my connection with the divine, my lover. I play with the divine. I go, okay, penetrate me. What you got for me today? I play with the energy of the universe. Have your way with me. What you got up your sleeve today? I'm playful with the unknown. It's a choice. Oh my God, what's going to happen? I could be hurt. It's a point of view. How about mystery? Today is one of the best days of my life. Where do you want me to go? Who do you want me to talk to? Where's the juice? Show me the way. And I let the beauty of nature soothe me if it's not 2 strong hands of a hot guy until it is, right? I don't go without. I won't go without. I'm going to love myself, single or in relationship, rejected or accepted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Next question. How can we see the difference between the one that deserves and or doesn't deserve to share intimacy of our temple with us?
Does it say if it's a girl or a guy?
A girl.
A girl. Okay. This is a funny but very effective technique. Our vagina, I believe, is alive, conscious. Our whole body's alive and conscious. It's all energy, right? So our vagina, our job is first to see our vagina as a divine temple, like a jewel, like the most beautiful jeweled temple of light you could ever imagine. And the only ones that get to come inside are the ones that honor you and respect you. So if you only go with your mind, analyze, strategize, freak out, looking from fear, is he the one, is he the one? You're never going to find the answer. So on a date, excuse yourself to the bathroom, sit down on the toilet or just whatever, sit on the bench, whatever, and just go, okay, hi, vagina. So what do you think about him? And I swear your vagina will go, no, I don't, like a Kegel. It'll be like, no, I don't trust him. He's really rich and really hot or whatever, but he's not paying attention. Or the vagina will be like, oh, I think we have a good one here. Not tonight, but let's go on another date. I want to get to know him more. I'm feeling seen. I'm feeling seen, right? And you just keep listening to your body. You can have the same conversation with your heart. Heart, how do you feel about him? The heart will be like, nope, or yep, like it'll slam shut or open wide with the trust of his integrity, his nobility, his the match. So you ask different areas of your body, don't ask your mind, and you'd be amazed of how instantly the answer is there. And let it be easy. It ought to be easy. Our safety system, our security, our home, our approval, everything's on the inside. We just need to begin looking here more than our spinning minds for this kind of guidance.
Wow, excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next
but you didn't talk about vaginas.
Exactly. I was thinking that would be an extraordinary clip for this interview. It was beautiful. You know what I was thinking, and that's, I apologize if I am too ironic or sarcastic now, but you know what I was thinking. So then from now on, you ladies should go by yourselves and never with someone else, because you typically go in pairs. What happens if you want to have that conversation and you happen to go with your best friend to the restroom, So.
Yes, We'll talk like ventriloquist.
So probably you have to share this way of thinking with your best friend, and she will understand that you need that space to yourself.
Yes.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me. Okay. Next question. How do you know that vulnerability equals sexy? How do you know?
It's my experience. It's the experience of my clients, but it's also my point of view about vulnerability. The dictionary says that vulnerability is about risk and emotional exposure. It's a point of view. It's a definition of vulnerability. Brene Brown, she says vulnerability, and I might not say this quote perfectly, but it's the birthplace of courage, the birthplace of joy, of expression. And to me, vulnerability is when you have such an intimate relationship with yourself, of a self-acceptance, not perfection, but of self-acceptance, that you can be unapologetically yourself and no longer look for your worth from the outside in. So if you have that definition of vulnerability, that's tremendously attractive. Tremendously attractive. The second part of the question is, how do you define sexy? Because sexy also has different definitions. It could be the manipulation of your body and your push-up bra to get attention. Well, that's not my definition of sexy. That's a manipulation to get something you want. It's that outside-in grasping control. But to me, sexy is this inner radiant flow of sacred sexual life force energy as a gift, and it has a wide energy to it. Sometimes our sexual energy, our life force energy, is very tender, very caring. It's that hand on his heart when the erection didn't happen. It's very loving. Sometimes it's all the way to the other side of the scale, and it's bound, chicka, bound, bound, swinging from the chandelier is sexy, right? Sometimes it's in the middle. It's just alive and creative and free. There's all these different energies of sexy, but across the board, in my opinion, it's sacred. Because it's the energy that gives us our next breath. It's the energy that blossoms a flower. It's the energy that spins the planet. It's the energy that creates like an orgasm of like oneness with the divine. I choose to believe it's sacred. So when I say vulnerability is the new sacred, I have a very specific definition of vulnerable and sexy, and I know it to be true in my own life and my clients. But I also know the other definitions, where vulnerability is weakness and sexy is a commodity, like my body's a piece of meat. That's not what I'm saying. And that reality is also true for people that believe that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. Next one. Can you give an example of the ideal date? That's a good one.
Oh my goodness. So many ideal dates. In fact, I wrote a whole book about it for men called Scoring a Relationship. It's on my men's site, and it was years ago, and a boyfriend was really amazing in my life, and he just kept doing these great dates. So I took pictures of it all and I made a book of it. So flash forward all these years later, me and my boyfriend, we tonight's actually date night. So once a week we do date night, or we do date day. And we like to call them often a day outside of time or an evening outside of time. And so there's creativity, there's connection, there's contact, there's vulnerability, there's all these things. So just what we did for the July 4th, an ideal date was, we could go and be in all the traffic. We could go to see all the fireworks. We could go to the fairs, all that kind of stuff. And I'm around people all day and I love it, but I need to replenish. So we took, when you built a fort when you were little, we took all the outdoor furniture cushions and we put it on this other area outside under the trees. We put blankets and we put pillows and we got the music. We got tortilla chips and beer. And it was right in this little nook where nobody could see. So I suntanned naked and that was really hot. And it was just this fun. We had nothing. We snoozed, we read. It was just this moment outside of time with no expectation, but the space in which magic to occur. So to me, the ideal date doesn't need to have this outcome driven, more of a space for the unknown to emerge. That's magic.
Wow. Beautiful. Thank you. That was a rich description. Thank you.
Welcome.
Next one. Can you give an advice on how to feel confident and not ashamed of being overweight, please?
Yes, I love this. Okay, so again, notice how you talk to your overweight body. If you talk to it mean with like cruelty and mean, and you won't look in the mirror, and every time you look in the mirror you're mad, you're not going to feel very confident, because that's literally taking like a 2x4 and hitting your body. Back when I coached Lisa Gibbons through Dancing with the Stars, she was turning 50 and she was very concerned about her thighs, showing 52 million people her 50-year-old thighs. And so between you and me, she has gorgeous thighs, but to her, she was judging her thighs. And so we did this exercise where I said, can we have a different point of view, a different relationship? Can we come into intimacy with your thighs? These thighs have walked you into how many auditions? Now you're like the host of Extra. Like, these thighs carried 3 babies in your belly, right? These thighs, and we just had all these new ways of looking at her body. And she's like, oh, my thighs aren't so bad. And she started to feel the beauty of her sensuality. So let's bring that over into a body that's overweight. A lot of times with my clients that are overweight, they're hiding from something. They don't feel safe in their body. And it's a bit of a barrier, not all the time, but more times than not, a bit of a barrier so you don't have to get intimate. And so if you could say to your body, like I talked to little you, right? Talk to your body. You're feeling kind of scared, huh? You don't want to be rejected again, huh? You hate all those little skinny bitches, don't you? Yeah. Like, whatever. Just say what's true to your body until you become friends. And then go, okay, I refuse to wait one more day to love you. I'm done. So we're going lingerie shopping. That's what we're doing. And we're just going to embrace where we're at. I'm not going to wait to love you. And that's what I'm going to do. So that's an action that you take, a symbolism as you get ready in the morning of I love you body, not I reject you body. Another level would be to light a candle, sit in front of the mirror in your new awesome lingerie at night, dark, and just go, hi belly. I'm sorry for being so mean and rejecting you. You have every right to not be able to stomach, not be able to digest the rejection of such and such last year. Still hurts, doesn't it? Let's do our inner work together. We have a new friend, Allana. She'll help us move through that, right? So you do the inner work. The next stage is you start to flirt with yourself as you are, not later. And so when you catch your eye in the, walking around town, I want you to notice, am I going to judge myself and go, suck in the belly? Or I'm going to go, hey, hot stuff. Slap my ass. Yeah, like you start to flirt. Maybe don't open your mouth and people will think you're crazy, but start to flirt inside your mind with your body. Start to see the beauty of your voluptuousness rather than see the rejection of your ass or your stomach. It's just a point of view. You must choose through these eyes. And between, you and me and the question asker, in this book called A Billion Wicked Thoughts, 97% of men on the planet search for boobs and ass, okay? Only 3% search for stick girls, okay? So men love curves. My son, oh my God, he's 15, and I saw somebody walk by, and I'm like, is that your type? He's like, no, he calls it the hourglass. And I'm like, okay, he goes, I like some meat on my way. I'm like, I can't believe we're having this conversation. but it's a point, it's a misunderstanding that voluptuousness is not attractive. And so to take on the new point of view that you are attractive, and then as you go through all of these practices, notice how all of a sudden you lost 10 pounds. You didn't even try. You just didn't even try, because you'll be taking loving actions as you eat, as you move, because you're taking loving actions as you talk and look at your body. We're a holistic creature. And then lastly, I don't pole dance right now. I'm far away from a studio, but I was a pole dancer for 7 years with women of all ages, all sizes. And it was so good. No mirrors, no men. We just walked around in our underwear and like 7-inch heels, slapping our ass all the time, cheering each other on. So consider finding a group of women who see each other as sacred goddesses, and they see every body as beautiful. S Factor is the company in America that I took my classes from, and I've had Sheila Kelly, the founder, on my show a couple times, my Intimate Conversations. She's a great, search out my show and look for that one, because she has a wonderful point of view that this is a work of art. It's not a piece of meat. And that needs to be our firm command to our soul of how we're going to treat our body. Yeah.
Excellent. And now for the last one, it says, Allana, you seem, that comes from a lady. You seem radiant. Can you give a quick seduction tip?
A quick seduction. Well, thank you. Okay, this is so fun. Imagine the like you could see, like, you know, when Neo in the Matrix, like, got his eyes all burned, he could see all the energy. Start to see the energy of you, like your aura. And what would it be like to be like invitational and alluring, not getting or grasping, and not trying to impress? So it's not pushing outward, and it's not grasping inward, and it's not prickly, like back off. It's this fluid energy. See if you can practice moving and dancing more fluidly. And then when you are on a date, use statements like, it would make me so happy if, or, and then use your body like, it would mean the world to me if. Like, include the body sensation, include the emotion, include the physical movement, include like the visuals in your mind. Like, just feel this fluid energy of invitation when you ask for something. See if you can make the voice start all the way down in that divine temple in your vagina we spoke of, through your power center. You know, we've got the mix of tenderness and don't fuck with me. Like, we're a strong queen, and our heart is open all the way. Our vulnerability, we've got our own back, right? And then the words that comes all the way up the body and out as an invitation, because we don't need to control the outcome. We're enough. We don't need to control anything. We're home on the inside. We don't need anybody's approval, because we know we're not perfect, but we're perfectly ourselves, perfectly imperfect, right? And so then when you invite with that velvety voice and that energy, and you let go of all attachment, you tend to be flocked with men.
Okay, wonderful. So again, where can this seduction team was amazing. I'm happily married, so I will have to ask my or our female friends to look at this interview and definitely to look for you. And speaking of, you know, trying to find you again, could you remind everybody at Mindalia TV where they can or where we can find you, please?
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, so ladies, go to allanapratt.com. Lots of free material there. Gentlemen, go to Get Her to Say Yes, and also a lot of free material there. I love to interview, so on iTunes, my show, Intimate Conversations. And then I also love to answer questions just like we did right now on my YouTube channel. So go there, and there's a lot of questions I answer on my blog. Lots of resources for everybody.
Wow. It's been really intense, and it's been really, you know, loving, and you're a lovable person, really. It's been really an experience for us in Mindalia TV. We work here every day and trying to make sure that the ones that need to listen what you have to say, what you had to say today, were here with us today. So it really, thank you very much for contributing so much to the people that need it the most. We've had a lot of fun besides an amazing content. So we're really grateful at Mindalia TV. Thank you very much for being with us, Allana.
Thank you. It's the greatest privilege. You're a beautiful interviewer. The questions were amazing. And this is why I get up every morning to contribute like this. So thank you for the honor. All my love.
Thank you very much. And again, this is Angel Rebo with Mindalia TV. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. And we see you again very, very soon. Bye-bye. Have a nice evening.